Hi there everybody and welcome to the opening session of Get Strumming. Now I'm going to play you a few songs. Before I start prattling on, I'm going to play you a few songs so you can just hear what the ukulele sounds like. So, ready to rock and roll? I thought so. 1, 2, 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock, rock. 5, 6, 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock, rock. 9, 10, 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock, rock. We're gonna rock around the clock tonight. Put your glad rags on, join me home. We'll have some fun when the clock strikes 1. We're gonna rock around the clock tonight. We're gonna rock, rock, rock to broad daylight. Gonna rock around the clock tonight. It's been a hard day's night, and I've been working like a dog. Close to New Orleans, way back up in the woods of Monty Evergreen, stood a log cabin made of earth and wood. Lived a country boy named Johnny B. Good, who never ever learned to read or write so well. He could play his guitar just like he's ringing a bell. Go, 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 Johnny, go, go, go. 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 Johnny be good. Woohoo and a yee-haw. So there you go. There were little snippets of songs that you can play on the ukulele, and I just played those just to show you what basically you can play. And the ukulele is just like an acoustic guitar, only it's smaller and it's got 2 less strings. Now this is really useful because you can sneak it under your jacket, take it to a party, whip it out and start playing a few songs, or you could even stick it in your hand luggage and get it on a plane and start entertaining all the passengers, which I have actually done before, whether they liked it or not. Anyway, right, so I'm just going to give you a little bit of the history of the instrument. So the ukulele, a lot of people obviously associate it with Hawaii, and they'd be quite right to, but the exact origins of the ukulele come from Madeira, and it was then known as a machete, and basically during the 1870s 3 woodworkers migrated over to Hawaii and brought the machete over with them, and it was renamed the ukulele. Now the ukulele, the name derives from, it's a translation into English, dancing flea, because the fingers move that quickly on the fretboard that they appear like dancing fleas. Well, that's one source of etymology regarding the word. Oh, that's a big word, isn't it? Etymology. The other translation is a more literal one, which was made by the Queen of Hawaii, and yuku means gift and lele means to come. So it means gift coming in from somewhere else. So that's another translation. There's no exact trace to the word. But anyway, the name ukulele stuck, and King Kalakaua of Hawaii loved the instrument so much that he actually encouraged all the residents to take up the instrument. In fact, he even took up the instrument himself. So it was really popular in Hawaii, and then obviously over the last 100 years the instrument's grown in popularity, and you'll probably know it for this song. there you go, George Formby, of course. So George Formby is obviously the proponent of the ukulele and the guy that we all associate the ukulele with. Now, obviously, a lot of people be thinking, what about the instrument that you used to play with the banjo front? So I'll just show you what that is. And indeed, you'd be correct. It is called the banjolele. Well, that was the trade name. That was the brand name. It's actually a ukulele banjo. And if you can see, it's actually literally got the skin of a drum. It's like drum skin. And they used to use these in music halls because obviously you get this resonating sound. And this was before microphones were used in music halls, so they needed a big sound to project right to the back of the theatre. So as you can see, pretty loud, much louder than the ukulele. And as I can show you here, here's a banjo, bigger in size, and here's a banjolele. So there's the difference. Big banjo, little banjolele. So, anyway, for those of you that happen to have a ukulele, I'm just going to show you how to tune it. That is the number one important thing before we start. You can get these tuners here. This is a Viking tuner, and you can get them for under 10 quid. They just operate with a little battery inside them. Now, how do I tune the instrument, you'll be asking? Right, I'll show you. What you need to do is tune each string to a specific note. So you're going to start with the bottom string. Now the bottom string is the string that's closest to your face, and the top string is the string that's closest to the floor. So I know that some of you might be left-handed, so obviously you're going to be playing this way around. So always remember the bottom string closest to your face, which is string 4, and the top string is string 1, and that is the string that's closest to the floor. So we're going to start by tuning the bottom string. Now we're tuning it to the note G. Now when you're using one of these tuners, it's obviously, as you can see, it's an LED dial. So what you're aiming for is to get that needle right in the centre, and for the note G, there we go, that's in tune. On my tuner, when it's in tune, it flashes green. So there we go, oops, there we go, that's it. Sometimes it just takes a moment or two to make its mind up. The next note is on the 3rd string, that's the 2nd string from your face, is a C. So there we go, that's in tune. Now if the needle points too far to the left, that means the string is flat. It's too low in pitch, so you need to tweak it up. So flat means too low, sharp means too high. So if it's too low, you twist the tuning peg. These are the tuning pegs here, by the way. You twist them on this side of the ukulele. You need to be turning them anti-clockwise, and on this side you need to be turning them clockwise to tune them up. So we're going to have a look at that. Now that's in tune. Now the next note is an E. Oh good, that's in tune. It's making my life a lot easier. And how are we doing there? That's a bit flat, so I'll tweak that up. There we go. And we're just about in tune there. That's great. Yeah, so basically if it's too flat, you need to tune the note up, and if it's too sharp, you need to slacken the string until the needle gets into the middle of the dial there. Yeah, so a good little phrase to remember the order of strings is good children eat apples. It's a great phrase, and it'll make you remember the notes. Good G, children C, eat E, apples A. Good children eat apples. There you go. You remember that, you'll be in tune. Now, a lot of people, because I teach ukulele in a local group for over 60s, and over the years we've built up the group. When it started we had about 15 members. Now we've got about 50 members. and each one of the members, all from totally different backgrounds. We've got retired nurses, retired doctors, retired teachers, some people have been retired gardeners, you name it. And people all come together every Monday, or before the lockdown we did, to play the ukulele. And the first question they ask is, what ukulele should I buy? Right. Well, there are 4 sizes of ukulele that you can buy. There's the soprano, which is about this big. It's a little diddy one. Then you go up to the concert ukulele. On this, up to here, it's about this size, the concert ukulele. Now, a lot of people tend to choose concert. Concert ukulele is really good for kids. In fact, even the soprano ukulele might be good for kids as well. For adults, you're looking at the concert. This is a tenor. That's the next size up. So you've got soprano, concert, tenor. Now, the tenor is pretty good for people, say if you've got big hands. The frets, these are the frets here, by the way. The frets are the gaps between the metal bars there. So 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, etc. On a tenor ukulele, the frets are a bit bigger, so they accommodate people with bigger hands. Then the next size up is a baritone. Now, the difference between a baritone and the soprano, concert and tenor ukuleles is basically that the baritone is tuned slightly differently to the other ukuleles. So instead of being tuned to G, C, E, A, the baritone is tuned D, G, B, E, like the top 4 strings of a guitar. You get a much deeper sound from a baritone. So I'd say it's a really good instrument if you're playing within a group of ukulele players. The baritone is good to have just to add a bit of depth to your overall sound in your ukulele group. Then the next size up is a bass. Now, I don't have a bass ukulele. I've got a bass guitar just up there. I didn't nick it from Paul McCartney, by the way, but it's violin bass. So I tend to use a bass guitar, but you can get bass ukuleles where you can play the root notes for whatever song that you're playing. But I'll tell you about that in a later tutorial. So, which ukulele should you get? Well, depending on your size, depending on what you feel comfortable with, for most people I would choose either between the concert or the tenor. Now, on my website, which is getstrumming.co.uk, there's a shop section there, and there are loads. If you go to the shop section on the website, you'll find loads of different ukuleles. All of them I can highly recommend. Now, for a tenor ukulele, to get a decent one, you're probably looking at between 50 and 60 pounds. For a concert size ukulele, obviously that's going to be a bit cheaper because it's a bit smaller. So really you want to be spending about 30 to 40 pounds. This model here, this is an Ashbury. This was 60 pounds. I use it and it suits me absolutely fine. It's got a lovely tone, it's made out of mahogany, and I couldn't recommend it highly enough. You can spend up to £200–300 on a ukulele, but that's not necessary, and it's basically if you want to buy the Rolls Royce of ukuleles, that. So ideally, you're looking at a concert ukulele between £30 and £50, and if you're looking at a tenor ukulele like this one, you're probably looking at between £50 and £70 for a box standard model, which will stay in tune. I'm just going to tell you something else about what not to look for. Now, when you look at tuning pegs, these are, you can't see it because they're actually covered up, but these are geared tuning pegs. Now, I can show you the difference between a friction tuning peg and a geared tuning peg. This banjolele here has got friction tuning. Now, I wouldn't recommend these because basically these rely on the screw in the back of the peg, which applies pressure. Now, you turn it, one of these pegs, ever so slightly, and you could be shifting 2 or 3 notes. There we go. And it doesn't really give you much accuracy, so they're really difficult to tune banjoleles and ukuleles with friction tuning pegs. So I really would stay clear of these. What you want are gear or geared tuning pegs. A ukulele with geared tuning pegs, so you can turn it, you can give it a really good turn, and because it's geared, the gears turn the string ever so slightly with a big motion. So what it means is that you've got more accuracy, and it also holds the notes in tune better. So your ukulele is going to stay in tune much better with geared tuning pegs. So that's one thing I'd look for. Also, stay away from ukuleles that are £10 or whatever, because basically they might as well be firewood, a lot of them. They don't stay in tune. You want to get something decent that's going to last, and more importantly, that's going to stay in tune. So, oh, and as if by magic, I've broken a string. Isn't that typical? But not to worry, because I have a spare. Now this ukulele, I'll just show you a great thing with this ukulele here. It's got a low G. This uke has got a high G, but this ukulele has got a low G, like that. So you get much more of a richer sound there. There we go. Right, enough prattling. I'm going to now show you a couple of chords to get you on your way. So for any beginners there, if you look on the comment section under the previous post, we've posted a couple of songs. Now the first song we're going to have a look at is Achy Breaky Heart. Now that was by Billy Ray Cyrus back in 1994. And a lot of people you probably know Miley Ray Cyrus, who is his daughter, and probably much more famous at the moment than he is. So this is the song that we're going to have a look at. All you need to use are 2 chords, and it goes like this. You can tell the world you never was my girl. You can burn my clothes up when I'm gone, and you can tell your friends just what a fool I've been, and laugh and joke about me on the phone. You can tell my arms go back into the farm. You can tell my feet to hit the floor, or you can tell your lips to tell my fingertips they won't be reaching out for you no more. So don't tell my heart, my achy breaky heart, I just don't think it understands. And if you tell my heart, my achy breaky heart, he might blow up and kill this man. So there you go, 2 chords. That's all you need. Right, I'll show you what they are. Right, first of all, I'll explain what a chord is. Now, a chord is basically where you put your left, if you're a right-handed player, you place your left hand on the fretboard. This is the fretboard here, with the little spaces between the metal bars. So you've got 1st fret, 2nd fret, 3rd fret, 4th fret, etc. On your left hand, if you're a right-handed player, obviously if you're a left-handed player, you're going to be using your left hand on the fretboard, and it's going to be pointing to the right. So if you're left-handed, you strum with your left hand. If you're right-handed, you strum with your right hand. So that's an important distinction. Right, so obviously what we're doing is we're counting the index finger as your first finger, your middle finger as your second finger, ring finger as your third, and your pinky, as some people call it, as your fourth finger. So that's important to know. 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th fingers. Right, so what I'm going to do first of all is show you a C chord. Now what we're going to do is we're going to be using our 3rd finger, that's your ring finger, and we're going to be placing it on the 3rd fret up the fretboard, so 1, 2, 3, and we're going to be placing it on the 1st string. So don't forget, the 1st string is the string that is closest to the floor. So there we go, 3rd finger, 3rd fret, 1st string. And what you're aiming to do is press down as hard as you can. Now, bear in mind that it's going to hurt to begin with, and you're going to be, you know, it's going to leave an indentation in your finger. Now, this is a pain barrier that we've all had to go through. And all I can say is the more practicing that you do, the more playing, the tougher your fingers get. If you notice, I don't know if you can see there, but my fingertips are kind of calloused because I play the guitar quite a lot, play the ukulele, and eventually, it's a bit like when you walk a lot, you get hard skin on the soles of your feet. Same happens on your fingertips. So the more often you play, your fingertips will get hardened and you won't feel any pain. But to begin with, it is going to hurt a little bit. So it's just one of those things that you've got to pass through the pain barrier. Now, also what you'll probably find is you might get this kind of sound. Again, don't worry about it. That's absolutely normal. What it means is your fingers are soft, so they're not quite catching the note. Don't worry about it. Once your fingers harden up, the sound will become more clear and you'll get a real clear ringing sound. Like that. Ding. Right, I promised you, very quickly before we look at this song, I promised you you'd be able to learn one song by the end of the tutorial. This song, you only need one chord for. You just need the C. Now, it's not going to make you into a rock and roll star, unfortunately. It's a nursery rhyme, but I guarantee you will be able to play this song within the next 2 minutes. Here we go. 3rd finger, 3rd fret, 1st string. With this hand, what you're doing is you're strumming with your thumb or your 1st finger. It doesn't matter which. So you're aiming to strum just where the join is between the neck here. This is the neck and this is the body. So you're aiming to strum just where the join is across the strings. Like that. You can use your finger or you can use your thumb. Either or, doesn't matter. And what you're aiming to do is just count 4 beats. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. But instead of slapping your leg, what you're aiming to do is strumming the uke. Just like that. So what I'm going to do now is count to 4 and we're going to sing Row, Row, Row Your Boat. I told you it was a little bit childish, but it's a song. That's the main thing. So, thumb or finger ready, the 3rd finger, 3rd fret, 1st string. 1, 2, 3, 4. Row, row, row your boat gently down the stream. Merrily, 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 life is but a dream. And again. Row, row, row your boat gently down the stream. Merrily, 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 life is but a dream. And once more for good luck. Row, row, row your boat gently down the stream. Merrily, 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 life is but a dream. Et voila! There you go. 1st song learnt. Easy as that. 1 chord. Watch very carefully. My hand never leaves my wrist. 3rd finger, 3rd fret, 1st string. 1st string's the string that's closest to the floor. Press down and then just strum either with your thumb or your 1st finger. Row, row, row your boat. There you go. If you've got grandkids, you can play that to your grandkids, or you can even strum it to yourselves. So that's your 1st song learned. So, as I say, this Billy Ray Cyrus song has got 2 chords. So we've learned the C major, yeah? So we're going to have a look now at the F major. Now you need 2 fingers for this. First and second. Peace, brother. So we've got first finger now on the first fret up. So yeah, first fret, this is the space here. And we're going to place our first finger on the second string. Now the second string is the string that's second closest to the ground. Then we're going to reach over with our second finger, that's your middle finger, on the second fret, fourth string. Now the fourth string is the string that's closest to your face. And that is an F major. Now, don't worry, like I say, if your finger is catching the other strings, because sometimes people have got different size fingers. I've got dainty little fingers, but some people, there's one guy that I teach, he's got hands like shovels. So, in fact, he's had to have a ukulele specially made for him, which is slightly bigger in width to accommodate his fingers. But don't worry, you'll get there. It's just a case of practicing. So there you go, there's your F major. Now if you've got the music in front of you, then follow along, and if you haven't, don't worry, I'll post them in the comment section after the program. So here we go, we're starting with an F major, yeah? So let's get strumming away with our finger or thumb. So here we go. Now I'll tell you when to change chord. We're going to change to the C major, the chord that we just did for Row Your Boat. Yeah? Good. 1, 2, 3, 4. You can tell the world you never was my girl. You can burn my clothes up when I'm now to change to C major. So there we go. Third finger, third fret, first string. So here we go. Gone, or you can tell your friends just what a fool I've been, and laugh and joke about me on the... Now we're changing to an F major. So there you go, first finger, first fret, second string, second finger, second fret, fourth string. Phone, verse 2. You can tell my arms go back into the farm. You can tell my feet to hit the floor. Back to C major there. Or you can tell my lips to tell my fingertips they won't be reaching out for you, no. Then change back to an F major. More. Now we're into the chorus. Don't forget, keep that steady bump, 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 bump strumming pattern with your thumb or your first finger. But don't tell my heart, my achy, breaky heart, I just don't think it under. Now we're changing to the C again. Stand. And if you tell my heart, my achy, breaky heart, he might blow up and kill this man to F. How are you doing so far? Bit tricky, isn't it? If you're a new player, don't worry, I might be losing you. Just remember, you can always go back to the beginning of the video or the beginning of this song and keep going over it. I don't expect beginners to be able to change that quickly. Some people might find it easy, some might not. Don't worry, we all learn at different paces. I'm a very slow learner, but once it's in there, under my hat, then it's in there. Right, verse 3, let's have a look at this then. So again, after 4, we're starting on an F major chord. 1, 2, 3, 4. You can tell your ma I moved to Arkansas. You can tell your dog that bit my... And then to C major, leg. Or tell your brother Cliff, whose fist can tell my lips, he never really liked me any. Back to F. Wait. Now let's go to verse 4. Or tell your Aunt Louise, tell anything you please. Myself already knows I'm not change to C, K. Or you can tell my eyes to watch out for my mind. It might be walking out on me too. And then to F major again, K. Good, yeah? Let's go back to the chorus then. So F major, here we go. So don't tell my heart, my achy breaky heart, I just don't think it under. And then to C major, stand. And if you tell my heart, my achy breaky heart, he might blow up and kill this back to F man. So there you go. There's another song, 2 chords that. So we've learnt so far the C major and we've learnt the F major. Right, before I go on to the next chord, because I realise we've got to take a bit of a break here, have a sit back and have a cup of tea. I've got mine here. In fact, I'm just gonna, this is very unprofessional, you know. You don't see Chris Evans doing this, do you? On Radio 2. Oh, it's not on it anymore, is it? There you go. Get yourself a cup of tea. I'm going to play you a song now, which was made famous in the film Casablanca. Now, I've been teaching this to the ukulele group, the over 60s group that I teach. Now, obviously, we've been social distancing, so we've been doing Zoom sessions. This song has gone down an absolute storm. It's called As Time Goes By. You must remember this, a kiss is just a kiss, a sigh is just a sigh. The fundamental things apply as time goes by. And when two lovers woo, they still say I love you, on that you can rely. No matter what the future brings as time goes by. Moonlight and love songs never out of date, hearts full of passion, jealousy and hate. Woman needs a man, and man must have his mate, that no one can deny. It's still the same old story, a fight for love and glory, a case of do or die. The world will always welcome lovers as time goes by. So there you go. So there's another gentle melody, a gentle song that you can play. They don't have to be all turn out nights again. You know, you can play really nice gentle songs. You can do rock and roll as well, which we're about to do next. So, as I mentioned before, we've done C major, we've learned C major, yeah? And we've learned F major. Good, right. That's in the bag, so let's have a look at this next song. The next chord we're going to learn is a G major, and you need to use 3 fingers. Boy oh boy, I'm putting you through the mill today. 3 fingers, 1, 2, 3. Ted Rogers, 3, 2, 1. So it's, you use your first finger on the 2nd fret, 3rd string, 2nd finger, 2nd fret, 1st string, and 3rd finger, 3rd fret, 2nd string. Notice this chord makes a kind of either a V shape or an upside down triangle. That's the best way to remember it. Upside down triangle. So that's a G major. I'll show you up close so you can get the measure of it. So first finger, second fret, third string. Second finger, second fret, first string. And third finger, third fret, second string. And it should sound something like this. There we go. So that's your G chord. Now, this is a really cool rock and roll song to play. It's by the King. Oh, you're looking for trouble? You're in the right place. And it's Hound Dog. And it's actually written by Carl Perkins, but Elvis, I think, had the bigger hit with it. So, really good song this. It goes down so well in care homes that I play in, because obviously a lot of residents in care homes, they're not interested in music from the 20s and 30s now. They're the rock and roll generation. They invented it all. It's them to blame. Rock and roll. So whenever we do any Beatles or Elvis, Buddy Holly, the residents' eyes light up. And what's particularly heartwarming is when you're playing to dementia patients. And I'm just filling up here a bit actually. There was one care home that we played at where there was a lady and she looked as though she'd been sort of, well, just asleep for quite a while and inactive, and she was just sat there in the chair. And we started playing, I think it was Oh Boy by Buddy Holly. You know, all my love, all my kissing, you don't know what you've been a missing, oh boy. And anyway, she'd been really sedentary and sort of had her eyes shut. And then noticed that legs started moving. And it was moving in time to the song. And she was there. And one of the staff came up to us after the gig and said, you see that lady there, sat there, she hasn't moved for a few days now. She just, you know, only when we feed her obviously and get her clothed and bathed, but that's the first time that she's made any movement of her own volition. See, this is what music does. This is why I play the ukulele and I love playing in care homes. It's not about being the greatest instrumentalist. I'm no great shakes, but I love playing it and I love the communication aspect of playing the ukulele. In the youth group that I teach, we've got an 91-year-old now. He started playing when he was 87. His wife had passed away. He was really depressed. First time in his life he was suffering with depression. And his daughter must have heard me on the radio, said, Dad, that ukulele group, you ought to join it. And he said, oh, I think I will. So he bought himself a ukulele, came to the group. Well, this gentleman now, his name's Leonard, he comes with us to all the ukulele gigs that we do at care homes. Leonard's quite often older than a lot of the people that are in the care homes, and the joy that he brings, and not only that he brings to the residents in care homes, but that he receives back off the residents is palpable. And I've just visited him the other week, and social distancing, of course, so we were, you know, away from each other, but he's been doing nothing but practicing his ukulele. So, joyous little instrument this. You'd be surprised what you can, you know, what the communication aspect of it you can achieve. Anyway, Hound Dog, C major. You ain't nothing but a hound dog, crying all the time. You ain't nothing but a hound dog, crying all the time. You ain't never caught a rabbit and you ain't no friend of mine. Well, they said you were high class. Well, that was just a lie. Well, they said you were high class. That was just a lie. You ain't never caught a rabbit and you ain't no friend of mine. So there you go. 3 chords. Now don't worry, I was playing it pretty quickly there, but I'll show you it slowed down. Whenever you're learning a new song, never try and play it quick, because you'll stumble over your chords, and always deconstruct it, take it down, do it line by line. Whenever I'm learning a new song and it's got particularly tricky chords in, I always deconstruct it and take my time over it, and then once it's got in the old upper story, I start speeding it up to the pace that that you'd expect from it. So we start off with our C major chord, so I'll just again describe where your fingers are going. 3rd finger, 3rd fret up, 1st string, which is the string closer to the floor. Now don't worry too much about complicating the strumming. If you know there I was going down, up, down, up, down, up, down. Don't need to do that when you're a beginner. I'll show you the complicated strumming, but for now the important thing is get the chords right. Right,